What's up, War Rapport family? I'm your host, Caesar Walker, aka C Dub. And as usual, I got the squad minus one. Got Ike Jones with me. B Will might won't be on the show today, but that's all right. We got a great show lined up for you today, anyhow. Listen, at the War Report, there's no such thing as an off season, so the show must go on. And we got a good one, guys. Listen, we're going to be talking about our favorite Auburn memories today, as
Yep.
well as the three things or some of the things that we love most about Auburn. We're going to be fanning out today. We want you to fan out with us. Without further ado, let's get the tailgate started. Welcome on this Valentine's Day edition of the weekend tailgate. Gentlemen, how are we doing? I know we're all on borrowed time, but how are we doing?
I'm gonna do all right, no complaints.
Yeah, man. Well, Ike, I don't think I can hear you, man. I don't think you coming through. But anyway, guys, I know y'all are falling in. Drop them War Eagles. Drop where you're from, especially if this is your first time catching us live. We definitely want to know where you're watching us from so we can connect with you. Definitely continue to drop comments in. We love the War Eagles. We fanning out today, man. Listen, for Valentine's Day, we're going to be talking about our love and our affinity for Auburn. We want you guys to join in as well. So, yeah, man. So let's, without further ado, we know there are some news, some things we do want to talk about in the coming weeks. And, we're going to be kind of strategic as to how we bring those up. They announced that spring will start March the
Next month.
16th.
Yeah.
March 16th. And I believe the A-Day game is it the 17th of April, I believe. So, yeah, man. So we're going to be doing, we got that. We're going to be discussing different position groups. We're going to be talking about the draft is going to be coming up. Is that April? Is that May?
I think the draft is in May. Let me check it. I'll tell you.
Okay.
The draft.
So, of course, there's been some mock drafts going on. So we got a lot to talk about this
No, you're right.
offseason.
April 29th is when it is.
Okay. So between A-Day and some of the guys who are trying to get drafted, we got a lot to discuss. But we fanning out today. We're going to be talking about our favorite Auburn memories. And so,
Kendrick.
oh,
yes.
We got a question right there. Oh,
We're gonna
absolutely.
be going live.
Absolutely.
Listen,
Full force.
this
no
entire
off-season.
show was based off of the premise that during the season so if you haven't heard Mike G tell this story, he tells the story often, but I'll just kind of
Too
tell you
often.
guys, not too often. It's not enough because people need to know. We actually need to do like a whole origin story video so everybody can know kind of how we got started on this. But the somebody said so no development today, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to
Character development today. We're doing character development today.
This whole show's premise started around us going live on game days, right? We did the whole thing where we would talk on the phone pre-game, halftime, post-game, and we just decided to get on camera and do our whole discussion thing with you all on camera. So that's never going away. Despite all of these other things we've been adding to the War Rapport, that's the hallmark of what we do is the game day experience. So the weekend tailgate is actually going to move to a Saturday show once the season starts. It's Sunday during the off season. It's going to be Saturdays during the season. But we'll still have the midweek stuff that we're going to be doing. We've always done a preview show on Wednesday. So the Wednesday live is still going to be happening with our War Room. Nothing changes, man. There's no off season. We might have people not here on certain days, but the War Report will continue to kick out content every week for y'all.
Shout out to you, Jonathan. Thanks for hopping on and checking us
Glad
out.
you could finally catch it. And War Eagle and happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, all of that, man.
And buddy, listen, for you, we're going to figure out a way to talk development. So don't you worry. We're going to talk development. We're going to talk strength and conditioning. We're going to try to fit it in some way to make it relevant so we can all take a swig. I don't even have my mug with me, but, I got my water bottle with me, so hopefully that counts.
Devin
merch.
got that merch
Big
today.
merch.
Listen, man, hold on. Some of y'all been ordering this merch, but you hadn't been sending us no pictures. You know what I'm saying? Y'all need to make sure y'all hit us on the IG or the Twitter or something with some pics of this merch that y'all been having out there, so we can show other people that people actually are supporting the War Report and purchasing merch. 100%. We're not making this up, people. We actually have people who are purchasing merch. So you might as well segue and talk about that. Go ahead and get you some. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, no, we're having a good time today. Again, Caesar said we're on borrowed time. My mic went out for some reason for a second, but Devin said his pictures are on his All About Auburn page on Facebook. That's the guy who's over the All About Auburn Facebook page. My wife is luckily working right now, so it's just good timing. She had to do some work stuff. I can come in here and I can chat it up with y'all. Mike, the only one not married, doing something on Valentine's Day special. You know what I'm saying?
Full Duncan Hines.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, man. Let's talk, because oftentimes, man, when you guys have met us, we've been doing analysis, breakdowns. Hey, be careful out there on the roads, man.
Yeah, don't comment, man. You good?
Yeah, don't comment. Don't do that.
Glad to hear.
Just listen. Just listen.
We did get King some merch. I'm gonna make sure if nobody else post a picture, as much as King was bothering us. Okay, so if you don't know, and you weren't here or around when we did this, we just did our first Chop It Up with a Pro session this past Thursday, and at the end of the session, King kept saying, "Hey, man, I want me a hat and a sweatshirt. Something. I feel a hat and a hoodie." That's what he kept saying. I need me a hat and a hoodie. So we got King his hat, and his hoodie is on its way to him now. So he better post a picture of that. King, if you're watching right now, I'm serious. I need a picture of that since you bothered us so much. Dead serious. Yeah. But yeah.
Listen, man. Let's talk some Auburn members. Let's fan out today. All right. Yeah. A lot of people don't get us, like, we declare this as a no sunshine pump zone. Yeah. And we don't pump sunshine, but we can get a bit nostalgic. We can talk about our some of our classic Auburn memories. And so, I'll just start off with myself, just leading off. One of my favorite Auburn memories was when we sacked Brody Kroll. What was it, 11 times? 13? It was a lot of times we sacked him. It was the 2005 Iron Bowl. Yeah. Alabama was claiming to be back, right? And I think they had won like 10 games that year. And Brody got sacked. We just had a sack fest in Jordan Hare, and good times, man. Good times. For me, that's an Auburn memory I enjoy that stands out in my Auburn experience. I actually graduated the following month. So that was a good time for me on my way out. So yeah, man. Like what is a good Auburn memory that y'all have?
78 Swiley or Swilly S. Willie. I don't know how to pronounce that properly. If you purchase something, I will make sure I send it to you. So yeah, get in there and make your purchase. We will get it over to you. No problem at all. Yeah.
That's how that happened. Yes. Yes. Every third down we was Quinn Groves, oh my goodness, man. Stanley McLover had a ball that game.
Yeah, I remember that bumper sticker. I saw it all over.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was good.
Oh, yeah. Tasharvin Bell had a good one.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, man. So, yeah, what about you guys?
You know what? I remember, it's a bunch, but the thing that stands out the most to me, it was the 2004 season. I guess you could pick a bunch of moments out that season, but Tennessee was actually good, and we were going there to play them for the first time. And I was nervous about that game because we had beaten LSU, and it was like, man, are we really going to be good? Or was LSU just all right? They won it the last year, but are they really good? I don't know. And Ronnie Brown flattened a dude running into the end zone.
When he stretched out
and then flexed when he got up. I was like, oh my goodness, Lord. It was an amazing feeling.
We watched that game.
I think we watched it together.
Yeah, we all watched that game because I think you was working. Where was it? You was working at the you was working at 4A, and you had the projector up, and we watched that game. I do remember that.
I just remember it was like, it happens in a lot of seasons. Like you're rolling a little bit,
definitely,
and you wonder, like, are we that good?
R.I.P. to Quentin.
R.I.P. to Quentin Groves for sure. And you wonder, are we that good? and then you have a game against an opponent you think is going to be just a mountain to climb, and we steamrolled these guys. Oh my goodness, that was an amazing moment. It was an amazing moment, and from there, like from that point forward, I had
It was Jason Allen.
that
It was Jason Allen.
Man, that was a moment though. I love that moment.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a very obvious moment, but like the of course the kick six game was a game where you know what I loved the most about the kick six game is number one, we weren't supposed to win that game, right? Like nobody had us beating Bama that year.
Right.
And I almost didn't know what I was watching, right? Like when it was happening, I was like, are we about to win? Yo, we about to win.
Yeah.
Bro, we about to win. Like, because I was with a bunch of other people and I was just like, I was sitting there watching. I was like, oh, snap. Oh, snap. This about to happen, cuz. Bro, it's like, I wasn't down there in Auburn with you for that game.
You weren't down here because I was up. I was actually at the building at the student center where I worked at the time.
Oh wow!
Watching the game, and that was an amazing moment there too. So it's me and my.
So I was trying to remember whether or not I have a cousin who's a big Bama fan, and like we were watching that game. I'm pretty sure at that game we were at a bar here in Birmingham watching that game, and so like it got dead quiet in there because this was only like 4 Auburn fans in the room.
Right.
And so like when it happened, like I had been quiet the whole. I wasn't talking no jump. You know what I'm saying? Like we coming back in the game. All like I wasn't talking no jump. I'm just watching. Then it happened, and so of course my wife, who is a Bama fan, was there, and then her cousin is the cousin I'm referring to. Like they're all Bama fans, and so like they're sitting there, and I'm just like. And I didn't say nothing. I was just in my brain though. I was going crazy because I'm just and like the Bama fans who were there were like they freaked out the whole time. But it was just beautiful to sit there and watch that happen amongst a bunch of Bama fans. So yeah, that's
the meltdown. Oh, I bet the meltdown was epic.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I'm pretty sure tailgating outside of Phoenix Stadium, watching the Natty. Story about that. This is where I get to throw Mike G under the bus. We were supposed to go to that game. Me, Mike G, and another friend of ours. But of course, me and the other friend blame Mike G for why we never went. Mike G, I'm pretty sure if you rewatch this back, you will definitely remember us throwing you under the bus for us not being able to check out that Natty. But yes, I'm pretty sure that championship was a great event. Let's see here. Not even Auburn fan, Bear Brown. I'm not even an Auburn fan, but Cam's leap from the 7-yard line against Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Cam had a lot of moments that year.
So I go back and I watch that highlight and I think to myself, what made him decide to jump from so far back? Like, I know the guy was gaining on him from behind, but like he literally took off from just inside the 10-yard line to dive. So I have no idea. Like, I want it. If at some point in time I get an opportunity to ask Cam this question, I'm going to ask him, why did you jump from so far away? Like, did you really think like, okay, I have to jump now or I'm not going to make it to the end zone?
Is that what Superman came started? I know he started doing the thing with
it. It was definitely during the season. It wasn't at the beginning of the season.
Right.
It was somewhere in those like first 5-6 games. He accurately claimed the Superman title for that season, and yeah, he earned that.
He had a couple of times. He had a couple of times during that season. I think it was the first game, that game in the season where we played South Carolina, where he ran over the dude at the goal line. I was just like. This dude, he different, bro. You don't see a quarterback running over no dude like that. He real different. Yes, that whole season was, of course, magical because national title at the end of it. I'm trying to think, where did I watch the national title game that year? I don't even remember where I was watching the game, man. But
2010, what was I doing? I don't remember.
2010, the time of the championship game.
Yeah.
It snowed. It snowed. We were like snowed in. So like, I don't know if you went much of anywhere.
I don't remember
us being like snowed in. It was like ice in Birmingham, stuff like that. I remember it snowing when that happened. So I was at the house. It was no incentive to go out because when it snows or sleets or ice here, Birmingham was like shut down. So I remember just watching that at the house for sure. For sure.
All right. What other big moments you got out there? See, I see some people talk. Look, this my man Bear, man. Shout out to Bear. He's a big Bama fan, huge Bama fan. So I appreciate him even following through and chopping it up with us. But yeah, like he had already run forever and then took off. Chris Davis to go. Yeah.
Shout out to Auburn football highlights. Check him out, guys. On his YouTube page.
TikTok,
he definitely be dropping
TikTok.
TikTok. He definitely dropped some dope stuff there. Of course. Sorry, right?
You good?
No, I'm not doing that. Go ahead.
I want to shout out Kelsey. Thank you for that super chat. And also,
get
it together, man. We love to see this same type of thing for some other teams. We know Auburn. We do not know the other SEC teams like we know Auburn. So it will be fun to see, those fans come up with some content like this for sure.
Yeah. What team is it that you ride with? I think Kelsey is are you a Bama fan, Kelsey?
Yeah. Is he?
I don't know. You can tell us. Anyway, Anyway, what other moments you got from Auburn?
This moment right here.
It's
not as a favorite moment because we lost that game, but the fact that he claimed it and he went into LSU and did it, an amazing feat.
Man.
By Kenny Irons that year. Yeah,
man. No, and I think that was his coming out party right there too as well on that game. So he did a lot for us, man. Another moment for me. I mean, I guess we got to talk about the prayer and Jordan Hare, right?
Yeah, that was another one of them. Yeah.
Now I had mixed emotions on that game, right? Of course, we was beating Georgia pretty good, and then of course
they came back.
And it just looked like the game was just over. I actually had an event to go to this game, right? So imagine looking at your phone and it's like 10 seconds left and Georgia's leading and you pissed, you upset, the whole nine. And then I just like, man, let me refresh my phone. What? We took the lead. Like, so not seeing the events and just seeing my phone, like, is my phone glitching up? So of course I go back and watch what unfolded. But yeah, you guys talk about like, I don't know if it was just me, my emotions being up and down during that game, but you guys talk about what that experience was for y'all.
I definitely almost turned the TV off during the game at the end. Because like the drive looked like it was going nowhere. And even when he let go of the pass, I was just like, what the heck wait, what? And like you was just again, it's just one of them things like, what did I just watch? Like, did that just happen? And so it was just one of those moments where you're just like, this is insane. Like, I felt personally cheated that we did not win the national title that year because, it just felt like we were supposed to win after all the stuff that happened for us to get there.
Yeah, we kept skipping. It's like people kept letting us skip in line to get to like the last thing at the store that we needed. And when we finally got to the front, they were like, oh, that was the last one. Sorry. Like that Bama again. We've talked about this separately.
But I mean, because like seriously though, because you watch the national title game and we're losing that game, and then Trey Mason breaks off a touchdown close to the end of the game, and you're like, yo, we about to really just do this every time we get in a pickle. Somebody gonna come up with an amazing thing. But you know what? The moment that I knew, I think I might have said this on the show before. The moment I knew we had lost that game,
but the kickoff return.
Nope.
That was my moment.
Nah, the moment I knew, man, we finna lose is when Trey Mason looked into the camera and he did the Heisman pose, and then he pointed to himself. I was like, oh, we finna lose.
He had every right, and he had every right.
Listen,
I just knew in that moment. I was like, man, they finna score. The moment he did it, I was like, we lost. We finna lose.
Well, just my luck. That's the championship game I went to. So I'm at the game, and I look at Mike. And I looked at the clock and I was like, they left way too much time on the clock. Because it was like a little over a minute. It was little over a minute. It was over a minute. I was like, that's way too much time on the clock.
Yeah, I was hoping that they would drain the clock a little bit. But, you're excited because he scored a touchdown. And you're like, because he took a pretty massive hit and shook it off of it. Yeah, and bounced off of him to get the touchdown. He was like, Trey Mason kind of real, bro. Like, because he was just one of those backs that just kept getting better. Like, as everybody else was getting tired, Trey, like, he is nothing like some of the backs that we've had recently. Like, Gus was and honestly,
I think that messed Gus up in my opinion.
It did. I was about to
feel
say,
like Gus
this
felt
is
like I
what
can just run my running backs. And they'll
Trey
just do
made
what Trey
him
Mason.
feel that he could
Yes.
run a back into the ground and he would just continue to produce because for whatever reason, Trey did not get tired. He barely ever got injured, and he ran as consistently from the first snap all the way through the. He was a true bell cow type of back, and he just never got tired, bro. Like, and so it
Trey
made
Mason
him
was the
feel like he could
exception.
continue to do that. Yeah,
Trey Mason was really an exception, but Gus treated him like that's the general rule of thumb with my running backs. I can you get the
not
hot
only
hand.
that, but having Greg Robinson and Jay Prosh to block on the offense was an
Right.
exception. That we had a lot of exceptional talent that it looked like, oh, he made this exceptional year with what we had in the cupboard. No, we had some exceptional pieces in the cupboard. Gus was never able to replicate that type of talent and production at certain positions, but every year he ran the offense like he had them.
Exactly.
He did not.
Sidebar. Responding to Devin's comment here.
Yeah, that was amazing.
I really miss Rob Bramlett. Like, man, RIP to him, man. Like, that call was legendary, man. Just the way he called that game, the excitement, that also added a lot to that as well. Because when most people play that back, they're usually playing Rod Bramlett's call and not what was on CBS.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
So, yeah, man, RIP to him. That was an amazing call. How about when Junior Rosegreen caught was it Reggie Brown for Georgia coming across the middle? This is way before the targeting days.
That's when football was
way
still
before the targeting days. I thought
man.
Everyone in that stadium thought Brown was dead.
Yeah,
like
he was
they
out
thought
cold.
he was
done.
Gone. Like he was like slumped on the ground. Like it was that nasty like slump. Like, dude, this is serious. Like you could hear a pin drop in that stadium.
Mm-hmm.
It was ridiculous, man. Like that hit to me is a like one of the Auburn moments. Like I'm like, man, like
Hey,
and that's the case you make for targeting hits like that.
Right.
Yeah, I'm with you, Brian. Like so we probably are going to do some rating shows at some point in time and get this on record before the season starts.
Yeah.
I don't know. He probably is gonna crack my top. I just, man, he was a lot. He was a lot to deal with, and he did that really all in one season because he wasn't the feature back before that. You know,
Well, he
was
got his 1,000 yards the prior season.
Yeah,
I remember.
But I'm just saying though, like it was just different that season, bro. Like he was way different. This is an accurate comparison. Trey Mason and Trent Richardson, as far as like getting to the NFL and never really panning out. Like
how they ran with in college.
The college football versions of those two guys was video game like, right? Trent Richardson did some stuff in games where you were just like, this ain't even fair, bro. Like, what is going on right now?
Right.
But then it just never translated to the NFL for whatever reason. And Trey,
his yards after contact, I think was just what impressed me about him because it's not like he was shifty. Like people was making contact with him, but they
just couldn't bring him down.
Yeah, like
and you know what? To that point, while Mike is not here to defend himself, didn't we have the same strength and conditioning coach in 2013 when Greg Robinson, Jay Prosh, and Trey Mason were all beasting on people?
Yeah.
Did we not? So would that not make the difference? The talent that we brought in and not the strength and conditioning program?
I don't know. I don't know what's changing the strength and conditioning program. You're saying this the personnel change. You know,
and that was year one,
right?
I don't know. I was
about to say, that's a little bit of a shaky argument, but
that's
it would trigger Mike.
That's some nuance there. But yeah, I understand what you're
Mike.
doing.
That's why I want him to
understand what you're doing
and be in that cabin on that shaky Wi-Fi.
This was a good one because he hadn't had an opportunity to play, and it's like it was his first Iron Bowl, and he just came out and he was like, "Yep, I'm here."
And Carnell he wanted to go to Bama. He wanted to go to Bama, and I don't know what happened there, but he ended up at Auburn.
I remember the story. He came here, and people who were on campus for the recruiting trip, not a part of it, but they brought him into the stadium. They put him up on the screen with some highlights and dubbed some Auburn announcements over it, and that's what did it. They told him he was going to be big time, that he was going to be next up, and a line of legendary backs, and he was, and he came.
Yeah, which is crazy because he was supposed to be. It's crazy that he and Ronnie even came back for that fourth year.
That's crazy.
Oh yeah, man. That was a win. That was a
That
win
was a
for
big win.
sure.
Because
That was
both
a
of those
win.
guys, I mean, but it paid off for all of them. I think,
Right.
no, I hope Jason Campbell doesn't take this as disrespect, but I think that Ronnie and Cadillac coming back is the reason why Jason Campbell was able to get drafted so high.
Oh, for sure.
Because
Oh,
he
for
played
sure.
well, but if you don't have those two backs that are able to make it where defenses have to say, okay, J Cam, you go beat us, and then he go out there and do that, then I think it's a way different product on the field that year. And I don't know that Jason Campbell gets drafted as a first round guy that year. But yeah,
Of course,
I don't know if you just put this up on the screen,
I
but they
did.
say
I
that, yeah,
did.
adapted to the
Yeah.
first couple of seasons. Yeah.
Yeah, again, you'll see the impact, and that is true, especially once the rule changes kind of happened that allowed Auburn, that took away Auburn's advantage with the hurry up no huddle,
Right.
and Gus's plan to continue the strength and conditioning plan the way he wanted to. I think that played a big part too in the guy's conditioning as well. He says, "Oh, Carnell and Brody were best friends. Didn't know that." Okay.
Did not know
We were definitely going to mention the cam back. I see somebody saw that on here. No, that I'm clicked on the wrong one. Yeah, that was special.
Yeah.
that. It was special.
Again,
It was special because of what was going on at the time, right? Because I think was it the week before? It was the prior week, the week of the Georgia game. Everything came out about Cam's dad, Cecil Newton, and Mississippi
And
State,
the
right?
NCAA
and
investigation.
the
yeah.
Bama fans in the stadium were giving him the business.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's
They was
what
playing.
made
They
it
was
so
playing. They was
sweet.
playing. They was playing the music. Take the money and run. Pregame.
Mhm.
They was calling him Scam Newton.
Mhm.
The whole nine. And so, of course, when he won the game, he's running around the stadium like, because basically I didn't shut you up.
That,
You're right.
that was
I
such a
didn't.
moment, man. That was such
Yeah,
a moment.
man. So like the just the sweet revenge, the humbling in that stadium too, man.
Because let's be
was that
clear,
our last
Bama.
victory? Was that our last victory?
At Bama, yes.
Yes.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Thought
like
so.
to be clear, Bama was dominating that game prior to in the first half. It
Oh,
looked
yeah.
real ugly.
Oh yeah.
And for a defense that wasn't great that year to step
Right.
up and not allow points after that was amazing, because that defense was Nick Fairley.
Monster. That boy did some wreaks
He was
havoc
a
the
cam. He was
entire
a cam of
season.
that defense.
Yeah, he allowed our defense to be successful in games where we shouldn't have been, because our secondary was awful. They
Yeah.
were flat out awful.
You
that
remember?
year.
You remember we played Arkansas that year, and that's when they had Petrino, and they carved our secondary.
Yeah, they
up
called us
in
up.
that
It was
game.
like 50 something to 40 something. That was the
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. And yes, and that Bama defense was very impressive that year.
Yeah.
Very impressive. But that's what Saban was winning with back in the day. So the defenses were definitely loaded back in those days, man. So yeah, man. Ike, you want to go ahead? I think we're at the midway point, man. You want to go ahead and run some advertisements and talk about what we got going on?
Of course, we always want to make sure that you guys know that channel memberships are currently available. If you want to continue to support the channel, make sure you hit us on that. If you guys did not see, again, we had our first Chop It Up with a Pro session that happened. But if you weren't a member, you couldn't ask any questions. We will have King back. The next one's going to be more of a film study. We're going to be talking about offensive line a little bit more in depth and just like looking at blocking assignments and things like that. So if you want to be able to ask questions in that session, you have to be a member to be able to get up on stuff like that. So that's going to be happening. We're going to try to do them twice a month. So it's not going to be this Thursday, but the next Thursday we will have King back. Of course, there are other ways you can support the channel. If you want to just give a one-time donation, we're here on the GoFundMe. So y'all make sure that y'all hit us up there. And then we've got the merch. You can see I'm rocking the hat. We got, I think B Will had the mug. So we got some stuff available for y'all. So y'all make sure y'all check that out. And then tomorrow, if you're not a member, then you don't know that part 2 of our conversation with Chris Todd is going to be going live tomorrow for every non-member. If you're a member, it's available now, so you can actually go ahead and check out part 2. It's already live for you all to be able to view. But non-members, tomorrow you will get part 2 of that interview with Chris Todd. Mike and I actually just sat down with another former Auburn receiver. We were with not Ben, it was with Devin Aromashtu. So that's going to be coming up really soon. So we got that one recorded and in the hopper for y'all coming up soon. And that may be a 2-part interview as well. We had some really good conversation with him. Mike and I'll sit down and decide kind of how we want to deliver that one to you all. We talked to him for over an hour. Just sitting around, and he had some really good insights. I'll wait till Mike gets on here Wednesday for us to talk a little bit more about some of the stuff that we talked about with him. But anyway, yeah, all of that stuff is coming up. Of course, we've got the normal shows that we're going to be doing this week in Facts and All. Facts and All has been buzzing in the comments. If you haven't seen the comments from the most recent Facts and All, it's been going crazy. But yeah, we definitely have a lot of great stuff coming up for you all in the very near future. So we appreciate y'all rocking with us, man.
Yeah, man. This going back to some of the memories. This was one of my least favorite memories.
Oh my god, that game was so stressful, bro. I was like, what is going? I was like, what's? So
That's when I knew Tony Franklin was not going to work out. That's when I knew, you know what, Tony? I would like to see Auburn in the spread, but I don't think you it, bro. I just don't think this is the move for you. And it wasn't right after this game, was it? Because I think this was like the third game in a year. But I think somewhere along halfway through during the season, he got the axe and the infamous picture of him holding books as he's walking out to his car, which is the walk of shame. I'm just amazed they even took a photo of that. Nice. But man,
iconic photo.
Very iconic, very memorable. But yeah, man, like that was one of those. That was one of the few victories I really wanted to purge from my memory. Indeed.
It was a rough game.
It was after game 5 that season, Coach.
After game 5, okay. Yeah. I knew the writing was on the wall after that game because I was like, this is not working. We shouldn't be struggling like this early in the year. Like, I can understand if it was later on in the season and teams had figured us out, but no reason why we should be struggling Mississippi State. But again, that's neither here nor there. Guys, do we want to transition on to the other part of the show where I guess we kind of give people a little bit of a background on us, and granted, you guys can jump in as well as you always do. I think we always are giving our analysis of games, our assessment of players, coaches, where we feel the program is, the trajectory of our program, but you guys don't really know a lot about us. A lot of you know a lot about Mike. Mike cleverly talks about his time in Auburn as working at the athletic department, filming practices, doing videos and whatnot. You don't know a lot about us and our origin story as well. So we can talk about, we talked about favorite memories, but since it's Valentine's Day, we're going to talk about why we love Auburn from our own standpoint. So who wants to start us off? B, you want to go ahead and get started?
Yeah, why not, man? So I came to Auburn because Ike was at Auburn. That was my boy. We already dabbled and we knew each other at church.
Moved in to the apartment right next door to me.
Yep.
So that's my boy.
What apartment?
Y'all don't know me.
What apartment complex?
Then it was Goodwin. It was Goodwin apartment.
Okay.
Right off of Wright Street, right down the street from the club.
Right down the street from Sky. But was it fourth quarter at one point?
Yeah.
It was Blue Room. No, then it was Blue Room.
Blue Room, yeah.
Then it was Blue Room.
Yeah, I remember Blue Room.
And so right down the street on that one way, and the apartment right next door. So we got absolutely nothing done. Just clowning and
just
music
all day doing music. Yeah, man.
MIA, of course, the ministry, because that was a big part of our lives when we were on campus. And
MIA, ministries in action.
That's how I met Caesar.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm trying to think. Did I know Mike before that? I might have known Mike.
So
I knew
Mike, because Mike is Petal's brother. You know what I'm saying? So Petal was a part of MIA, and that's how we met Mike. So MIA really is kind of what brought us all together in this whatever.
Right.
So
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that's why I came to Auburn. Of course, involved with the on-campus ministry MIA at that time, and that's why I met Caesar and Petal and Mike, and it was a really good time. Just being here and having that group, that subset of friends that, you're going to meet people in classes and, you're going to go to football games with people, but those friendships never change, which is why we could do this now. That's why this is possible right here, because we established those friendships there on campus. And when I came in, that was 2002. Everybody else was still, I think I'm the youngest one of all of us. which don't let the grade fool you. Well, it's not fooling you. I am old, but also the probably the biggest thing still is that I met my wife at Auburn, and we got married.
Shout out to Danielle. You know what I'm talking about.
For being gracious in the time that I get to put towards the War Rapport. She's very sweet, and I appreciate it very much.
All of our wives are.
Yeah, but not Mike's wife because she doesn't exist yet. But
yeah.
So yeah, meeting my wife there and getting married on campus right outside of Foy, because Foy is where we met as students, and that was a big moment. So yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Guess who got to do that ceremony?
That's right. Married by.
Yeah,
ordained Ike Jones.
I got to do the ceremony. You know what I'm talking about?
Nice.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we did that right in front of Sanford Hall, man. But it was like the courtyard outside of
between Foy and
yeah.
Yep. Yes, sir.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah,
that's what's
man.
up. So yeah,
I told y'all we real Auburn folks here, man. We don't just get on here and talk about like y'all can say what you want to, man, but we put in our time down there on the plains, baby. For me, I got down there. I was at Auburn before everybody else was, and I used to work at the stadium. I was working in the suites, so I used to get to see all of the foolishness that happened up there, up above the stadium during game days. It was always an interesting time. So, but I used to. That's really. Like I was never really like I was a big football fan, but I never like went to games, right? Until I started working at the games. And that's really what kind of like, I watched Auburn football before then. I loved the team. I was a big fan. What I loved about Auburn, just gonna be real with you. Like when I first started watching Auburn, it was because Damian Craig was the quarterback. And I was like, oh, they got a black quarterback. Oh, okay. All right. So it made me start watching games, just being real with you. So that's really what started my love for Auburn initially. And I just kept following the team. But then I got down here on campus and I really got immersed into Auburn does a really good job of indoctrinating you into the culture. Camp War Eagle to get you revved up. And then, you get into a lot of those freshman things and you're just like, all right, I kind of like it here. Okay. All right. Y'all cool or whatever. But then, I started working at the stadium. So that's really what got me locked into like really paying attention to what's going on. And then, like I said, my man B Will came down. I was like, oh, I got my boy here with me too. It was on, I just, from then on, I started having a much better time just because I had like one of my best friends down there on campus with me. But
you ain't the only one, B Will.
That's right, Coach B. All the women.
Yeah, I don't have an Auburn woman. I happen to have a
you truly have a house divided.
Yeah, I happen to have a Bama woman, with me. But yeah, it's still a beautiful thing to be able to go back and just like the campus has changed so much. So when I was there was actually the Eagles nest that was out there where the current student center is. So we used to go out there. Like so we would have the pregame, not pregame, but what am I trying to say? The Friday before the game. Yeah.
Pep rally?
We'd have the pep rally stuff that was going on. So like we used to have like concerts out there on the grass and everything. Like it was just dope being out there in that kind of atmosphere. But I used to love that whole situation.
Thank you.
But yeah, my time at Auburn was fun, man. I had a good time. I probably had a little too much fun. I have a lot of other stories that I could tell that, I'm not going to get into, but I probably had a little too much fun. Shout out to my man, Larry. If you watching, my man, Lucky is, I used to get in all the trouble that I got into at Auburn. Probably starts with a story of me going to meet Larry out at the extension at his spot out there. He stayed in the extension. So I used to go out to the extension. And it probably every bad story that happens in my Auburn time started at the extension somewhere in that story. But yeah, that was my time, man.
I remember being in class at Parker and saying Parker needed to go. So I agree with you, Michael. And that was like 20 years ago almost. Yeah, man. So yeah, it's been time. It's
you guys, did you start in engineering, Brian, when you were there?
Unfortunately, I made the mistake of thinking I was going to be an engineer.
I did. The program. You were an engineer when you first got there too. See? Yeah, I
Yeah, I
did.
mean, I was in the College of Engineering, so yes,
Yeah, so I did
I was
BMVP when I first got down there,
Mhm.
and that was a
Bell
good little
South Minority
situation.
Engineering Program for those who
Yeah,
Dr. Weatherby,
don't know.
RP.
yeah. I
RP,
was
Dr.
about to say
Weatherby.
RP to
Oh
Dr.
man,
Dr. Weatherby was a good mentor for me when I first started at Auburn, just because being a smart kid in high school is different from being a smart kid in college. Even though I went to the Alabama School of Fine Arts and everybody was smart there, but like,
yeah,
going to high school and being smart, you had to go to school and had to go to class. Dr. Weatherby was really one of the only reasons that I continued going to class, because he would stay on me all the time. He was just like, man, you're too smart. Because the only reasons I ever made a bad grade at Auburn, I just didn't show up to class. I would just not go. I would just not go to class. And he was like, why
Yeah.
are you doing this? I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't want
like Dr. Weatherby, he filled in the gap, and I think a reason why my parents liked him as much as they did is because he was like everyone's parents' eyes and ears and access to their kids to keep them motivated.
My
because
dad and Dr.
most
Weatherby
kids would
stayed
go to
talking.
school. Yeah, they go to school and they'll fall off, but Weatherby was like that person who stayed on you and made you get tutoring, made you study, made you do those things. And so the accountability he provided is a lot of engineers, minority engineers today coming out of Auburn because of his legacy and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I'll talk about myself, man. The reason why I came to love Auburn was because of my dad. Now, my dad is not an Auburn fan, but my dad tells a story that a lot of his coworkers and people tried to convert him to an Alabama fan. And my dad got turned off from Alabama because of the fans. So what my dad would do during the 90s, he would watch just the Iron Bowl. So a lot of the old Auburn games in the 90s and whatnot, I wasn't privy to because we wasn't watching a lot of Auburn football. Right. But we would watch the Iron Bowl. And my dad would root for anybody who played against Alabama just to see Bama fans go through it. So as a child, I grew up right. So as a kid, my experience was those big games against Alabama, rooting against them and pulling for Auburn. And so as a kid, I'm like, yeah, I'm an Auburn fan. And so I wanted to go to Auburn. And I remember going on those. We remember being down at school. We remember seeing kids during game day on like school trips or trips visiting the campus. I had one of those trips. So I experienced the game day atmosphere at Auburn. And when I experienced the game day atmosphere and saw how it was, I think Auburn was playing Appalachian State. I think it was like 98, 99, sometime in there. And so I was like, I got to go here. Like it was either Auburn or some HBCU school, right? Yeah. And so I was like, I got to go to Auburn. And so going to Auburn and experiencing that tradition, I experienced my first Tiger Walk at Auburn.
So because I worked in the stadium, I missed so many Tiger Walks. Like I was already at work by the time.
I didn't go to a lot to them. I didn't go to a lot of them, but I was like, I at least got to go to one if I went to Auburn, right? Yeah. So because oftentimes, you know how we are as college students, it takes us all day to get out. Like if we've been out that night before or whatever, like we sleeping in, like we're just chilling. Yeah. So we're not thinking about getting down. And because we have a whole section in the stadium dedicated to us, there's no incentive to get down there early. Like we can just walk to the stadium, whatever. So oftentimes I would miss Tiger Walk because of that reason alone. That I was like, I get down there right before the game start and get right on the end. And so that Toomer's Corner, man, like the times we rolled Toomer's Corner after a big win. I feel like Auburn has the best tradition of the Eagles Landing. Like seeing that in the stadiums, like this is a special place, man. Like this is just an amazing place. Like you can't simulate no elephant going into a stadium. You can't bring no it's you know what I mean? It's just what we got is so dope at Auburn. Yeah. And my wife, who she attended all night. We wasn't dating then, but we knew each other, and of course we knew each other at Auburn as well. So like she loves Auburn. So when we go back down to Auburn, we reminisce about places we used to go, places we used to eat, the whole nine. And so and then came the campus ministry meeting you guys. And if it had not been for Auburn and those memories, you guys wouldn't have a War Rapport today, man. For sure. So So like that's a big, reason as to why. So even though we tell it like it is and we're very honest, Auburn runs through our blood, man, and we love that place. That place
And I
has
think that's
created us.
why we're so passionate about it, right? Like I don't have this much passion about so I'm a huge San Francisco 49ers football fan. I would not get on camera talking about 49ers football. Like I'm not as passionate about it because there's no portion of my life that's attached to San Francisco. Like I love the team, it ain't the same, right? Like I didn't spend my blood, sweat, and tear. I ain't really bleed.
You sweat up in them boxes running the meals to people a little bit.
Yeah. My Fridays, of course, like that's actually I used to enjoy going because we had to go get the stuff set for the game days, right? So I would have go Niners. That's right. I had to go get stuff set for game days. Man, I have carried more boxes of alcohol in Friday. Like, man, those sweets, bruh. So much alcohol in those sweets, bro. Like you just have no idea the inventory of alcohol that made its way up to sweet level. I was just like, good God, you people are going to have alcohol poisoning because this is ridiculous. But it was always fun. But yeah, it was a lot of sweat going on doing that. We were in walking distance to Toomer's Corner though, but I was always at work. So by the time I got off of work, like
it was all done.
It was all over with. Like, and so like I missed that. Except for my freshman year was the only year I got to experience all of that stuff because I wasn't working the stadium the freshman year. But every year after that, I was at work game day. So game day was like a work day for me. For as far as the home games are concerned, road games I still got to do whatever. But game days on home games, I was always at work. So I see somebody mentioning Mama G's. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Mama Goldberg's, absolutely. I thought about making a fax and nah out of that one.
We might have to get some of those type of fax and nah situations.
Yeah, I thought about making a fax and nah out of Mama Goldberg. So be on the lookout for that one. I'd love to hear some of our Auburn faithful. I'm with Hugh. I put that post up. Ain't none of that. I pull for both until they play each other. When you get indoctrinated in Auburn and you understand that Bama is the enemy. There's a part of you that, and even Bama fans, there are Bama fans I know there's some Bama fans who went to Alabama who say, hey, I pull for Auburn, but I know deep down, like they're snickering when we lose games.
Oh yeah,
like,
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
like there's a part of them that's like, it's like, I'm the same way with Bama. If Bama lose a game, I'm like, oof, this is a good day. Like Auburn could have lost. Like there was times Auburn lost a game and then Bama lost. And I was like, all right. I'm like that kind of shoulders the blow a bit. You know what I mean? So
there were definitely years where you didn't want to. Maybe we lost a game and you hated it, like the 2013 national championship. That hurt, but you know what hurt worse? Knowing that the ridicule was coming from Bama fans because they had just won a couple. It's like you win 2010 and then they win a couple. If you sandwich them right there, then come on, like that's a good deal right there. You got your guy that's Saban, yeah. But we won 2 championships right here, 2 different coaches. When we lost that game, I was like, oh no.
And I know your cousin probably gave you the blues because he loved talking that jazz.
Well, the thing that Bama fans was hitting us with is, Bama never lose when we get there. When we get there, man, we never lose. And they hadn't up to that point.
Yeah.
Until Clemson. Yeah. Oh, that argument went all out the window, man. All out the window. So yeah, man. These are just some of our precious. This is us kind of explaining our fandom, man. I remember days because at the time Mike would always come over to our apartment. I was staying with another homeboy of ours, and Mike would come over, especially if we lose. Mike would come over, still as passionate then as he is today, and be pissed. So yeah, man. So like Mike would be with the football team that day.
Yo, so you guys think Mike as far as his passion goes for Auburn? Wait till we get an opportunity. Somehow we're going to figure out how to get it where like we can watch a game together or something like that. Mike watching a game is the most entertaining thing in the world. Because he is.
Listen, Mike has definitely broken a TV before. He has absolutely this no nah on it. All facts. He has definitely broken a television and some furniture before watching Auburn football.
Yeah.
No lies. No lies there.
His passion extends beyond strength and conditioning and development. He's an Auburn guy to the core, man, and he is passionate to he has a passion that is way over the top when it comes to how he is in there for those games, man. So it's always fun. Somebody just asked me any stories from the suites. You're not really allowed to talk about stuff you see as a former employee of the suite area. So I'm gonna stay true to that and not give any stories.
Really, even afterwards?
Listen.
Sworn to secrecy?
Yeah. So like, okay. I can't talk about it on camera. It was interesting. I will say that you got to see a lot of very interesting things happen up on the suite level. So
we lost to LSU. That hurt my heart. That hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
When Les Miles went for it and won at the last moment, that was very.
There was some sweet poetry to them almost winning that game, and it was the final game for Les Miles where they threw the touchdown, but they ruled that the snap didn't count because they hadn't got lined up on time. So there was some sweet poetry to the fact that they did that to us, and then we were the reason basically that Les lost his job. No disrespect to Les Miles, great guy, great coach, whatever, but it was good. We needed that W. Let me be clear, because we was looking real shaky before that win.
The next time we get Mike in town, we are
going to try to do a live situation for some of we got to figure out what the whole tailgating situation is going to be for this season. We're going to try to be all together in the same room. And we may just turn a camera. We might not do it live during the game, but we may turn a camera on during the game, and so y'all could just see kind of how we interact during games. I don't know if we'll be able to post that on on the internet because there's rules around
monetize that.
Yeah, rules around profanity and things. So I'm not 100% sure we could do that, but we'll figure out something. Maybe we'll make that a members only video or something, or we'll edit out and post like clips from it. I don't know, man.
Kevlar X2. I just hated going to work the next day because I would have Bama fans who don't even understand football. They just know the end score and just want to talk mess to me. So yes, I totally understand what that was like. Yeah. Now I wasn't going to go there, but this is why I love you guys. The point you made, Gus should have gotten fired that same day.
Yeah, it was an awful game. We kicked field goals the whole game, bro. Like it was just like
I was going to stay away from that, but this is why I love you guys. And listen, Blake. Oh my bad, Blake. Unfortunately, that kept Gus with Auburn too. Yes. Yeah. Agreed. 4 more years.
There's a series of unfortunate events that have that prolonged the Gus Malzahn tenure at Auburn. But listen, if all of that brought us right now to Brian Harsin and he actually turns out to be the coach that we think that he's going to be based upon how he's changing the culture, then hey, listen, I'm good with that. But we it's yet to be seen because the question still remains: who would have been the coach if we had fired Gus that year? I don't know.
Yeah.
You have no idea what you get on the other side of that firing when we don't.
It's
know
almost
yet
like I'm happy with the way things happened, right? Yeah. Because we've yet to play a single game. We don't know what this Auburn team is going to look like. Like for all we know, Harsin can tank, right? But the things that we've been hearing, the things that we've been reading about, it sounds incredibly encouraging. The things we're hearing about from the players, how they've been responding to the new coaches, it's been really encouraging. So that's what breeds excitement, and that's what I'm looking forward to seeing in the spring.
Will we be at A-Day? We're working on some stuff to do something very official. I don't know if I will be. Yeah, Mike and I.
My anniversary is around that time, so I don't know if I will be there, but I'm pretty sure Mike, Ike, y'all may, and B's already in Auburn, so we may try to work something out.
Yeah. Mike and I have already talked about going down there for A-Day. I don't know at what capacity we're going to be there yet, as far as like being official, but we do plan at least being in Auburn for A-Day. So maybe we'll see a couple of y'all down there, but more to come on that. We got some things that we're working on.
All right. All right.
Yeah, you all were at the game, so this is
Story time. Story
Yeah.
time. By the way, man, Auburn showed out during the national championship. The amount of Auburn fans in that stadium as opposed to Florida State fans, you was so proud to be an Auburn Tiger, man, just being in that stadium. Some of my buddies, a buddy of mine who's an Alabama fan was like, dude, it sounded like y'all was in Jordan here. Like,
yeah.
the stadium was loud, but it was a lot of us, and a lot of us had traveled across country to that game. And it almost dispels why you didn't see a lot of like teams in the SEC go to Rose Bowls and stuff like that, because the concern is those teams don't travel as well. That's not Auburn. Auburn is huge. Like, a lot of fans, a lot of people came out, and then when we were up 21-3, oh my goodness, we were like, man, this trip was worth it. We were just having a grand time. And then slowly but surely, Florida State started eating away at the score. And so, I had cautious optimism throughout, but man, when you're up 21-3, and you got to remember, Florida State was number one, the whole year?
Yeah.
And Jameis Winston, Heisman, and like the defense is stopping him. And so the Nick Marshall, they're running the read option to, like they always do. Like, we looked like we were fixing to roll Florida State. And I think they ended up scoring a touchdown first in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh boy, buckle your seatbelts. Like, this is we got a game.
That first drive coming back out from the half, you were like, that was real different, that drive. I don't know.
Right.
They went in there, Jimbo went in there and made a few adjustments. I don't know. And it got real depressing in the second half of the game.
And it's like I said, when Trey Mason scored that final touchdown for Auburn, I was like, if it was like 30 seconds on the scoreboard, I would be jumping up. But I didn't even celebrate, because I just had that sick feeling in the bottom of my stomach, in the bottom of my pit, that they were going to pull it out. And sure enough, we know what happened. So, needless to say, that was a long walk back to the car. And in California,
literally
walk of shame, because you're like, they had blocked off a lot of park like access into the Rose Bowl, because you're walking down into a valley basically when you're out in Pasadena. So we parked in downtown Pasadena and had to walk all the way down. Now, it's fun when it's warm, but it got a little cool that night. It gets cold because you're kind of out there, you're close to the ocean, but you're almost kind of close to the desert too. So it gets cold at night. So it was a long, cold walk with a lot to think about, evaluating why we went out there in the first place. But anyway, it was it was a mixture of emotions that night. We went from jubilant first at halftime to, man. So, yeah, man.
Yeah, that was definitely a hard watch, because you had your hopes up and it just got dashed so quickly.
Yeah, man. So,
but this is a fact right here, Dreamweaver. Some people, I've had conversations with a lot of fans the moment after the hire, who were just like, "Oh, this is a terrible hire. I can't believe we hired a coach from Boise and all this kind of stuff." And like, have not, number one, what school he came from is irrelevant to whether or not he's going to be a good coach. Number two, you haven't seen him coach a single game. I doubt any of you actually followed Boise State and what they were doing on a consistent basis enough to have a real evaluation of what he does game in and game out. So yeah, give him a chance. Look to see what he's going to do. Like, I get it. Gus Malzahn did, again, I can't say this enough. And people, for some reason, they skip over these statements to hear the critiques. Gus Malzahn was a good coach. He did a lot of good things in his time at Auburn. I would put him in the top 5 coaches ever in Auburn history. If you haven't seen our Facts or Not, we had the conversation as to whether or not he's top 3. I wouldn't quite put him in my top 3, but I probably would put him in my top 5. But his time was just up. I just don't feel that the program was going in the right direction. And, we needed new blood on the plains, because we have been swimming in mediocrity for a minute now. And that's just not that purgatory of good enough to win sometimes, definitely not good enough to win consistently, losing games you're not supposed to lose, getting blown out by your rivals on a pretty consistent basis. That's not a place you want to be as an Auburn fan. when you know you've seen the program be better than this, when you know that we have the talent to be better than this. So it was just time. It was just time.
Yeah, and there's a part of me who I want to see Gus figure it out as a coach. I want to see him get past the stubbornness and learn how to make adjustments and trust his coaching staff, because you don't want that reputation. Like, that's going to follow you wherever stops you make, because guys who are going to work with you, at least on the offensive side of the football, are not going to feel like they're going to really have a say in what changes and what things are made. That's why when Harsin made the statement that we're going to work and develop Auburn's offense together, that was music to my ears, because we really hadn't heard that before, right? So it just, again, like we think Gus Malzahn is a great guy, and I think he's had a lot of success, but I feel like in order for him to have continued success, he's going to have to adapt and trust his coaches and trust the people around him to have input in making for a good program. So that's all I will say about Gus. We wish Gus well, though.
Yeah, I was going to make this correction. Cody Parkey, during that game.
Yeah,
Trust
man.
AD to pick a good coach. Yeah. This is his first hire, so hopefully, this is going to be one that's going to take us into a place where we want to be as a program.
I for one wanted this. I wanted an out of the box kind of guy. Like I wanted someone unconventional, right? Because we always tend to do that. Someone who has a familiarity with the program, sort of thing. And we didn't do that with Bruce Pearl. You know what I mean? We didn't do that. Like I wanted an out of the box kind of person. And so this wouldn't have been the guy I would have picked, but it still checks off the boxes, and someone who's used to running his own program, someone who may not be familiar with Auburn, but can come in and not have those biases or allegiances to certain people. Like, I liked it. I didn't know much about Harsin, but yeah. And I think Josh Pate did something recently on 247 when he was gauging. I think he was kind of gauging the mood of Auburn's fans. And, I just felt like there were a lot of people who didn't like the hire just because of where he came from, to your point, Ike. And I'm just like, really, you want someone who understands how to take a program and make it better. And it may not be on a grand scale of the SEC, but someone who has experience taking a program that wasn't doing well, and now they're doing well because of his leadership. Now at Boise was already a good program, right, when he got there, but he didn't run it into the ground. And they also moved to a much more tougher that's something a lot of people don't mention, is that they went in the Mountain West all the times that Peterson was there. They went to the Mountain West, I think, either afterwards or during the time that Harsin was at Boise. So the competition picked up a little bit. They're now playing the Fresnos. They're now playing the Air Forces. Like, they're playing those programs where they wasn't before. So
and he wanted them to level up again. He was like, yeah, all right, so they still not respecting us. Let's move up to another. Like, let's go to the Pac-10 then. So like like, he wanted listen, anybody who wants smoke, that's a guy who you want to be on your squad.
I like that.
Give me the smoke. Put me in there where it's gonna be, and I'm gonna show you what's up. And yeah, that energy alone had me be like, okay, this guy might be about something.
Yeah, I want someone who says, yeah, I want to go against Kirby. I want to go against Nick. I want to go against these guys, because I feel like I'm as good, if not better, than they are. That's who we want at Auburn. We don't want someone who's scared of the smoke, for sure.
Yeah, because you got to see him every year. So he was like, okay, I'll take that challenge. Let's go get it. So I love it. I don't want to talk about Jay Jacobs. I don't want to talk about Jay Jacobs.
All right. Let's see. Who do y'all think will be a standout this year other than Tank?
That's a good question. I do shout out to
I'm assuming Blake. He's talking offense.
Yeah, just real quick, shout out to Blake for joining as a member just recently to the team. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you,
appreciate
sir.
you.
Thank you, sir.
For hopping on board with us. Blake's been a frequent commenter, so I appreciate you taking that leap over to that membership side. He had been talking about wanting to do it for a minute. So finally got it done. Standouts. Let me think about that for a second. Where was the question? Do you think
who other than Tank?
Other than Tank will be a standout this season.
I mean, I'm thinking wide receiver. I would like to see.
I honestly feel like it's going to be a tight end. Like, I feel like this system is
tight end, but I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know who.
Yeah, I
Because
think
spring is going to show us a lot about who asserts
exactly.
themselves. Like it's kind of hard to say. Again, Canyon has shown me that he has the potential to be a standout.
Yeah,
In
he's
the bowl
the guy
game.
that I picked to finally, if we haven't seen that facts or not, we have not had a 1,000-yard receiver since 1999 with Ronnie Daniels. I believe that Kenyon has the opportunity to do that just because I know it's a recency bias, right? So like you see him in one game and he flashes on the screen. You're like, why have we not been playing this guy? But he did something different than some of the other young kids. Kobe Hudson got snaps earlier in the season. Capers got snaps earlier in the season, and neither of those guys.
I think Kobe
flashed.
Hudson is going to be a really good. He's going to be a good possession receiver for us.
J.J. Evans, Kobe Hudson. Just remember the names I'm calling out right now of receiver. But J.J. Evans, Kobe Hudson, Capers, and Canyon were all freshman wide receivers, and those kids all look like they're going to do work.
Shout out Philip Coleman.
You add to that we've got Malcolm Johnson, who is going to be a speed guy. And you've got Hal Presley, the incoming freshman, who is a speed guy. Our wide receiver core has enough talent to do some damage, right? It's just going to depend on how well Cornell Williams gets in there with those guys and really gets them to adapt to this new system and just understanding what their job is going to be on a play-to-play basis. That's one of the things that Mike and I, when we were talking with Devin, is just really what allows wide receivers to get snaps when you know that wide receiver room is going to be competitive is who's going to do their job on a game on a play-by-play basis because those guys were more blockers than they were receivers, right? We've heard the jokes from Jairus. Devin echoed those sentiments. Courtney talked about it. You weren't going to get a ton of opportunities. That's not going to be the case for this new crop. We're going to throw the ball, right? You're in a place where you have to throw the ball. But who's going to step up and make plays? Who's going to be the guy that's going to be getting the separation necessary? Who's going to
be doing some amazing things in space and doing those things that don't show up in the stat book for sure? Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what those guys are going to do. Kenyon's been on. Somebody mentioned Frazier. I think he is. He's got every quality you need in a league, in an NFL specifically, where the tight end position is becoming more a part of what offenses are doing. I think if you have a guy who can show like that in college, you need to go out there and showcase him because he's going to get an opportunity to make a ton of money in the league. So yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing what these kids are going to do.
I'm just excited. I'm just excited to see us using multiple tight end sets.
Because we have enough.
We have enough
guys that can do it.
Like we have the guys, the personnel to do a lot of this cool stuff, and so it's going to present a lot of opportunities for our tight ends to finally showcase what they can do beyond just blocking. Now, Bedell, he's an O-line coach by trade, so they're going to be blocking, right?
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of 21 personnel this year where they're going to, we're going to line up and we're going to run it down some guys' throats.
Absolutely.
What you've got with Bedell and his ability to put those tight ends as true blockers. We've got some, like Pegues is just a beastly human being out there. And we see he has the prowess to come, if he's going to
really want to know where he's going to land, Ike. I'm curious if he's going to be a tight end when it's all said and done.
I think that's probably the best spot for him. The only other place I can see him going, just because he has the ability to handle the ball, is to be a true fullback in the system, right? And because he's going to be blocking really well, like, are they going to try to use him as that, like a true, we're going to line up in 22, right? We're going to have,
I can see him coming down in motion and becoming a fullback or doing something like that. Yeah, I can see that. I could definitely see that.
And actually just taking handoffs. Shout out right here to the super chat. We appreciate y'all very much.
Thank y'all.
Yeah, we're going to try to do what we can do to keep up the good information. Like, like I said, we're just fans out here talking about fans.
We're not going to forget about Capers. We're not going to forget about, he was the guy. he was the guy.
He had the most, he got the most snaps of any of the freshman receivers that we had out there. So clearly, they saw something in his ability. Like he's a really good athlete, a big receiver. Before he got hurt, he was doing his thing out there. He allowed for Canyon to come in and actually get more snaps during that game. But
no, we ain't forgot about Capers at all, man. It's one of those reasons why, as much as I would have liked to see Seth, and again, we're going to be talking about Seth, and we're going to be talking about, the guys who are left early and their chances of getting drafted. Are they looking at being, free agents? There's no combine this year, so Does that hurt their chances to perhaps move up with just having pro day as opposed to having a pro day and combine? Like we're going to talk about those guys, but man, with them leaving, we still got a lot of untapped potential and talent at the wide receiver position, man. And I'm looking forward to see how what Williams does with this wide receiving group. This is going to be a pretty talented wide receiver room. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with these guys. Yeah,
definitely going to be an interesting time to watch how they deploy all of these weapons that are available to them. So, a lot of people, we've been getting a lot of flack in the comments about, like, we talk too much about Bo Nix and we talk too much about Gus Malzahn. To be clear, it's difficult for us to give any true analysis on any of the players because they haven't played for real, right? Bo is one of the few players who's returning that we have enough tape on him to say what we do and don't like based upon what he's done at Auburn, right? Everything else is speculative, and we can sit here and speculate on what guys could possibly be doing, what they might do in the future until we see it on tape. I don't want to just go out and bash a kid who, and it's not Bo Nix bashing. It's just being real with what we saw on the film. I can't talk about them in any intelligent way until I actually see them do something on the field, which is why I can talk about, what Smoke Monday needs to work on. And we'll talk more about defense. I can talk about, things that we saw out of, Roger McCreary on the outside, because we've seen tape on him.
We got tape. We got the tape.
We can talk about linebackers and why, they were out of position. We've talked about many times about what linebackers being out of position, playing out of position, and also being out of position on the defensive snaps because we've seen tape on them, right? But not a ton of tape on what J.J. Pegues can actually do because he rarely touched the ball. They weren't really using him effectively last year.
Right.
Wide receivers are all going to be new guys. Tank is really the only returning star on the offensive side, and we don't really have a ton of bad things to say about him, other than the fact, again, I talked about this once, that he does have a tendency to be a little impatient and want to bounce it to the outside too much. He needs to be, I think they're going to have to find a way, depending upon what the system is going to be that they're going to be running with him, whether or not he's going to be patient enough to find the holes. But he's a good runner. So like that.
Especially with the new blocking schemes they're going to be installing, like there are going to be certain expectations of him that just bouncing to the outside may not be your first go-to. Yeah. So and absolutely.
So, I can't say a ton of things about him, but what I can evaluate is the guy who's been a starter for 2 years, and I know what I've seen on film for him. So it's not that I dislike Bo. I just know things that I see that he needs to work on. And again, as we get into being able to do film review, I hope that's coming soon. We'll show you some stuff that we've been talking about. But yeah, anyway, I went on a little too much on that, but yeah.
Listen, guys, we appreciate y'all. We're going to wrap up because, again, as we said, it's Valentine's Day and we're on borrowed time with our wives. So, guys, smash the like button and love that name there. Thank you for the super chat. Big ups to you, sir. But yeah, man, like, listen, smash that like button. You want to go? I guess we want to run through those.
So as always, memberships are available. Y'all can get in here and be a member of the War Rapport. This is just, a way for you all to be able to support us consistently. A lot of people hit us up about different types of content they want us to produce. We're still doing this in our part-time. So, the more that we can transition to doing this full-time, the more that we're going to be able to provide you all with some better and unique content. If you want to
more of it.
Yeah, if you just want to toss us some money, you can go over there to our GoFundMe that is open. And we are willing to accept your offering. Your love offering is definitely appreciated. Other ways that you can support is just by getting some merch. You can rock some War Rapport merch around. Maybe we'll see you guys on campus one day. If we have a tailgate party, maybe the tailgate turns into a live tailgate one day and you all come, rocking your War Rapport merch. We'll appreciate that. We always have got the stuff going on. Tomorrow, part 2. If you haven't seen it, part 1 is already available for those of you who are who can get on there. But part 2 is coming tomorrow. Life for Transfer QB, the conversation with Chris Todd, that will be dropping to non-members tomorrow. Members, you can go ahead and view that when you get off of this live if you have not already. And that's pretty much it. If you haven't hit the like button, then I don't know what you've been doing with your time. Go ahead and hit that wherever you are, whether that's on Facebook or on YouTube, and make sure that we can get this boosted in the algorithm. We appreciate everybody who supports. A lot of y'all been rocking with us this entire day. I didn't know if anybody was going to come on Valentine's Day, but it's been over like 80 people watching it this entire time. So we appreciate y'all. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So as always, guys, you can like and subscribe to us on YouTube. Please remember to do that if you haven't already. You can find us at the War Rapport on Twitter and IG. It is TW Report on TikTok. Guys, we're signing off. But as always and forever, War Eagle.
War Eagle.